Since early stages of our life, we're led to believe that working hard will eventually lead to success. And while hours put in determination and certain sacrifice might play a big role in achieving triumph in certain field, new scientific findings prove that we have been lied to our whole lives. Working hard is a myth, and working harder will not upper your chances in achieving success in your life. In this episode, we will need to analyze great athletes and their early childhoods. We need to revisit famous Malcolm Gladwell book in 1000 Hours Theory. We also need to see how successful people did it and recreate steps of my early childhood. Because this is Fabric of Life, a show where we try to fuse art and science to answer humanity's most complicated questions. And we use everything from classical paintings to mathematics, from advanced statistics to historical novels. My name is Vladislav Radek, I'm a writer and mathematician, and I'm your host. And today's question is a rather interesting one. Why working hard will not bring you success? Let me take you on an adventure.
Hello, Instagram.
Bad boy. I'm on a mission and I won't stop.
If you're feeling that you're pushing really hard but still not achieving any success, don't be surprised if I tell you that we have enough scientific evidence to actually prove you that working hard can be even counterproductive in achieving that success.
In his groundbreaking book Range, Why Journalists Triumph in Specialized World, David Epstein, an investigative reporter at ProPublica, shares some interesting facts. Children who would later become pro athletes do not train as much in the formative ages as ones who would eventually fail to reach the top tier. Eventual athletes typically devote less time early on to deliberate practice in the activity in which they will eventually become experts. Instead, they undergo what researchers call a sampling period. They play a variety of sports, usually in a structured or lightly structured environment, then they gain a range of physical proficiencies from which they can draw. They learn about their own abilities and proclivities, and only later do they focus and ramp up technical practice in one area. The title of one study of athletes in individual sports proclaimed late specialization as key to success.
Genetics play a crucial role in success forming in early life stages. For example, in one study, scientists took a group of people to perform exactly same type of exercise, hoping to see if there will be any difference at the very end and different outcomes with different individuals.
Everybody saw a different level of improvement, but interestingly, individuals who were related by blood saw similar improvement, indicating that their genetics were playing a big role in their potential athletic abilities. After doing more statistical analysis, it's been estimated that around 50% of athletes' improvement is linked to genetics. So good athletes are born with good trainable genes. But those studies also found that individuals had different baseline abilities too without any training. Some people were just more fit than others, and this was found to be linked to genetics. As well, in the case of cardio, those genes might have coded for larger volumes of blood, giving an early advantage.
Yes, you might say, but this is only for sport that obviously requires, different muscle mass, different blood flow, and those things are particularly impacted by genetics. But what about other things? What about great piano players or great and successful scientists? Well, I have an answer for that as well.
John Sloboda is undoubtedly one of the most influential researchers in psychology of music. His 1985 book, The Musical Mind, ranged from origins of the music to acquisition of playing skill and set a research agenda that his field is still carrying out today. His study of music students aged 8 to 18 and ranging in skill from rank novices to students in highly selective music schools found that when they began training, there was no difference in the amount of practice undertaken between any of the groups of players, from the least to the most accomplished. The students who would go on to be most successful only started practicing much more once they identified an instrument they wanted to focus on, whether because they were better at it or they just liked it more. The instrument, it appeared, was driving the practitioner rather than reverse.
The psychologists highlighted the variety of paths to excellence, but one thing was usually detrimental for all of them, and that is an early stage sampling period that included variety of instruments, choosing different techniques and then later narrowing the focus down with explosion in practice time and increased structure. Time over time, it was proven that having freedom in early stages of your life to explore and wonder would be detrimental for the success in later stages of your life. And me as well, I'm also a great example for that.
I published my first novel when I was only 15 and I had fair share of success in mathematics and other natural sciences, but I was a late bloomer. My parents gave me an absolute freedom to explore the world around me before focusing on only one thing. I played sports and went to the library, refused to read things necessary for the school and chose, for example, political thrillers, played an instrument and ignored music theory.
I had no focus and I loved every second of it.
And I'm not the only one. Epstein points out that compared to other scientists, Nobel laureates are at least 22 times more likely to partake as an amateur actor, dancer, magician, or other type of performer. Nationally recognized scientists are much more likely than other scientists to be musicians, sculptors, painters, paint makers, woodworkers, mechanics, poets, or writers of both fiction and non-fiction. And psychologists and prominent creativity researchers Dan Keaton Smithson observed rather than obsessively focusing on narrow topics, creative achievers tend to have broader interests. This breadth often sometimes insights that cannot be attributed to domain-specific expertise alone. As a perfect example, they refer to Richard Feynman, who was an amateur bongo player, painter, and safe-cracking hobbyist, while he rose to become one of the most eminent physicists of all time.
But wait, why do we still promote working hard and hustle culture? And isn't it suspicious that people who already achieved some financial success are actually promoting it, and they will certainly benefit from us working harder?
Donald Trump famously bragged, "Hard work is my personal method for financial success," and a couple of years ago he tweeted, "No president ever worked harder than me," which should probably be our first clue that this idea is deeply flawed. Americans, for example, work longer hours and are more productive than any other country on the planet. Some of the people leave their job at the door when they punch out. Others never seem to stop working, either because they are moving to a second or third job or feel as they need to always be continued to work via email or Slack. But the next graph will make your blood boil. It shows that productivity have surged, but income and wages have stagnated for most Americans. In the meantime, average income of top 1% rose to staggering 240%.
It's no wonder that work hard and success will eventually come mantra is slowly dying down. And movements like quiet quitting and other things like turning off your cell phone after 5 p.m. are actually getting some traction.
If you want success, you might need to look elsewhere. Maybe it's too late for you to become a renowned jazz musician or top-scoring soccer player, but you can copy the formula of the famous writers and Nobel Prize winners. Hobbies are not waste of time. Practice, play, and enjoy. Let your passion find you, and once the match is made, you put your effort and your desire into it.
Same like I do these videos that are going to be watched by maximum of couple hundred people. Success might or might not come, but I guarantee you, you will enjoy every second of your life. Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and also if you're interested in this topic, I also made an episode about why you are not successful from a little bit different angle. Here it is, you can click on it and watch it. Just do it. See you next week. Until then, stay tuned and curious, and don't forget, libraries still